Hornets. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Edina High School's Curriculum Night. And this would be for parents, students, and guardians of our incoming ninth grade students for next year. Joining me tonight is Angela Kiefer and Natalie Goldberg. They are two of our counselors that work with our ninth graders. Just an overview of what to expect tonight. We will have some specific information that Angela and Natalie will present regarding duties of the counselors and what you can expect from them all year long. We will also have some course information presented by all of our area leaders for the required course areas, our core course areas, along with personal wellness. And then at the very end, we'll have some tips from teachers, things that students can expect in the transition from 8th to 9th grade, and just really trying to give you a general overview with enough details to maybe ease some of the stress and help you along as you register for courses for next year. So when you are looking to register, just some pointers. Make sure that you're really taking a thoughtful, intentional, meaningful process to look at classes that you are interested in, making sure that you have registered for a full course load, which in this case is 7 classes for first semester and 7 classes for second semester. Oftentimes, our ninth graders will also register for a quiet student prep, which for those of us that are a little older, that would be like an old school study hall. It is a period where students have an opportunity to catch up on any homework or just have some time where they're in a quiet setting to get some work done. Also, a reminder that once ninth grade starts, it is the start of your official transcript. So grades count, GPA gets factored in. So it's really important to get ninth grade off to a good start, focusing on school, making sure the classes you register for are classes you're going to want to take all year. And then also keeping in mind that at high school, we are on a 7-period day with a couple block days thrown in the middle, but the pace is a lot faster than what you're used to in middle school. So again, very important that you understand that school becomes a huge priority once you enter ninth grade. And I'd say the last thing that you'll see when you come to Edina High School is that the teachers really want to help our students be successful. So our first core area that you're going to learn about tonight is mathematics. And Nate Murphy has put together a video that outlines what students can expect and what classes to take in ninth grade.
Well, welcome. My name is Nate Murphy, and I hope that this video will help you understand what class your child should take in the upcoming school year. So first off to my left here is a list of our classes or the standard progression of classes that students would take in the high school, starting with ninth grade. So as a student, if they're currently in the middle school and they're in Algebra 1, the class that they should register then for would be intermediate algebra. Now, if a student is already in intermediate algebra, or if they are currently in compacted algebra, the class that they should register for then would be geometry. And you could probably figure out the others that if they're currently in geometry, they should register for Algebra 2, or if they're already in Algebra 2, they should register for pre-calculus. Now, if they're on one of these advanced tracks, you need to understand that in the high school, the requirement, the state requirement is that they take 3 years of high school math. So although Algebra 2 meets the state's requirements as far as standards are concerned, they're still required to take 3 years of high school math. And so if they're on one of these advanced tracks, just know that we do have a wealth of other elective classes that students would have to choose from in the future. Now, there are a category, a very small category, but there is a small category of students that are in that advanced track that may want to consider moving back a step. Here's what I mean. Sometimes we'll have students that are in those advanced tracks and they get here in the high school with the rigor of the classes and they really get overwhelmed because maybe if they're currently in intermediate or compacted algebra and if they're getting a C or a C minus and they're constantly having to retake tests, if the students don't have a strong algebra background, it's when they get to either algebra 2 or pre-calculus that we find that they really, really struggle. And then at that point, we don't have a whole lot of options to help get them the support that they would need outside of office hours, meeting with teachers, or getting tutors. We want to make sure that we try to avoid that as much as possible. So if your student is currently in one of these advanced tracks, really take a second to step back and reevaluate where they're at. Is that the appropriate placement and the appropriate track for them at that time? Because there's nothing wrong. It's not going to impact their ability to graduate on time. It's not going to impact the view of colleges in the future. If they're currently in one of those advanced tracks, and I would say more so with the algebra, so intermediate algebra and compacted algebra or algebra 2. And if they're currently struggling, having to, get that, retake all the time, or they're just barely getting by with a C or C minus, definitely in the D category, you want to make sure that you consider retaking that course in the high school because the rigor is going to be different. The experience is going to be different enough that they're not going to feel like it's repeating of everything. It's going to repeat the same concepts, but they're going to be taking different tests, different assessments, obviously a different teacher. So it will be a new and different experience here in the high school. So I just want to make sure that I emphasize that as that being another option for your child. Now, if you have any questions, I would say first start with talking to your child's current teacher because they're obviously going to have a better idea of who your child is, what they're like, and what would be the best placement for them. But if you do have any other questions, please feel free to contact me. My email is above me here, so feel free to send me an email with any questions you might have. And good luck.
Well, that was a lot of information about math. And I think being a former math teacher here at Edina High School before I became an administrator, I can echo Nate's words with respect to if students are struggling a little bit in math, it might be in their best interest to just take the class over again. I think it's super important that kids have a solid foundation of math because it is one of those classes that just keeps getting harder as kids get older. So Natalie, in thinking about what you deal with our incoming ninth graders, how much homework do kids have at night, or what do kids tell you is kind of an adjustment they have with respect to homework?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we hear from students is just making sure that they're staying on top of things on every day. So just not letting their homework get too far, not to get too far behind, making sure that they're really establishing good habits, especially in math. There's usually, some nights there isn't a ton of work to do, but there's usually a little bit of something. So it's just really making sure to stay on top of things and not really let things snowball.
I think one other thing, just to point out to our listeners out there, is that in terms of summer, Natalie, can you speak a little bit about summer opportunities for kids?
Yeah, so I think we've had a couple questions, and this, maybe relates to science as well when we get there. But we have had students inquire about taking some summer math or science classes kind of on their own outside of school. So a couple notes, like let's say a student is in intermediate algebra and they want to take geometry over the summer. They should still sign up for geometry next year through the registration process. So they have a seat in that class just in case for some reason they don't finish. But we have a lot of families that choose to go through Northern Star Online for our summer work. They're a partner online provider. And by taking a class through Northern Star Online, the grade does go on the high school transcript here and does get calculated into the GPA. Now, my understanding is our Edina Virtual Pathway program will be offering some summer courses this summer as well. I'll have to pull up the list here and let you know in just a minute, but I think a couple of these classes would be offered through Edina Virtual Pathway as well. The one piece about taking a summer class, whether it's math, science, something like that, on your own through an online provider, is they are tuition-based programs. So just, be aware that there's a tuition piece to that. If there's a financial need, our families can go through Edina Give and Go to see if there is some scholarship money that they can acquire through Give and Go. So it's kind of a nice way to partner that together. All right. Okay, so next we're going to talk a little bit about English. Now, for those of you that have an older son or daughter at the school, you may know, you may be familiar with our pre-AP English 9 as our ninth grade English class. If you're following along with the school board at all, you may know that we have updated our English curriculum. So coming up here next year, our ninth graders do have an opportunity to choose between two classes. One is called English 9 Survey, and the other is called English 9 Roundtable. Tess Bateman, one of our English teachers, is going to share with you a little bit more about the difference between the two classes. And then she'll share also just kind of an overview of what's to come in general in the English department. So I'll let Tess take it away.
Hello, I'm Tess Bateman, English Department Area Leader, and I'm excited to share with you your options as you consider your English courses for ninth grade at Edina High School. What I'm about to share is a little bit different than if you've had older siblings than they had, because next year we are offering 2 new courses for ninth grade English. So all of our English courses work on meeting the Minnesota standards and include practice in a variety of language arts skills. The difference in our 2 courses is about the degree of teacher support and student independence required. The 2 options that you have to choose from are English 9 Survey and English 9 Roundtable. So English 9 Survey is a course with, as you can see from the descriptions here, more guidance when it comes to writing, more support with reading comprehension. English 9 Roundtable has the expectation for more student initiative and student responsibility. Students should be able to independently comprehend what they read. Both courses are designed to get kids to the same outcomes. Like I said, meeting the standards, prepping for future advanced courses in English. Both courses have homework, have discussion, require the same amount of writing, explore reading through thematic units. So there's lots of overlap. Again, the difference between the 2 is survey includes more teacher support, roundtable requires more student independence. So if you're wondering, which course should I take? We put together some questions for you to consider. So if you're the kind of reader that feels you could benefit from using teacher support to boost your reading comprehension, models and structured resources from your teacher to help you with your writing, maybe you need more time to complete assignments, you should consider taking survey. On the other hand, if you're a student who reads independently with comprehension, you're able to work at an accelerated pace, and you are very interested in generating your own ideas to show your analysis of a text, working independently, then you should take Roundtable. And I'll just pause and say there's lots of good reasons to take either course. I think students should consider their overall balance of course, their course load and their work-life balance and responsibilities and activities outside of school as they make selections about their coursework. If a student takes survey in ninth grade, they are always able to move into the roundtable course for 10th grade. And if a student takes roundtable in ninth grade, they will be able to move the other direction, moving into survey in 10th grade if they would choose. One last point I want to make, just because it's an exciting new development in our English language arts curriculum at Edina High School, this will not be relevant to you really until 11th or 12th grade, but I just want to mention this because it's so exciting. We are beginning to offer new college level courses in the English department, college in the schools courses. And this is a partnership we're building with University of Minnesota. Students will take a course, an English course, and earn both U of M credit and Edina High School credit, which they can transfer to their future college. And we'll continue to offer AP English courses. In fact, we're hoping to add to our lineup of AP English courses in the future as well. But just wanted to mention these opportunities coming your way in the future. Thanks.
So a lot of fun things coming in our English department. Tess has been really pivotal in kind of working towards what's coming next. So I just wanted to mention, Miss Kiefer and I were actually over, and the rest of the counselors were over at Valley View today. And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but our ninth grade teachers have done a really good job equipping the eighth grade teachers with all the talking points needed to help students make good decisions. They put a great PowerPoint together that was shared by the eighth grade English teachers at both of the schools, or will be here coming up in the next few days. So for those of you that have kids at Southview and Valley View, if your students kind of wondering a little bit more about which English is appropriate for them, their eighth grade teachers have a lot of great information. And I know some of you are coming in from out of the district, and Miss Kiefer and I will be meeting with you and your students here coming up in the next couple of weeks, month coming up, and we'll be able to have some more individualized conversations around that. So
And when we were there today, I would say, I asked my group of students, like, how many of you have already had these conversations with your math, social studies, English, and science teachers? And so many of the eighth grade teachers are already having those conversations and kind of leading the class to like, this is what's next for you. But if a student is still really concerned, whether it's English or social studies or science or whatever is going to be next, really they should talk to their current teacher because they know them as a learner and what they're capable of and what would fit them the best. And we're having two big changes in ninth grade for next year with our curriculum, English obviously being one of them, and social studies also changing. Really having that conversation with their current teachers, because again, they just know your kids so well that they'll be able to guide them into what they should be the most successful at, or where that placement would be the most appropriate. So I would encourage you, just like Natalie said, to really connect with those teachers. But I was really impressed with how many teachers are at the middle school are already having that conversation. It was good to see that we're all kind of working together to get kids in the right place.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with all the new stuff coming. So next one.
Yeah, so now we're going to move on to social studies. So we have some changes here too, and Eric Anderson, who is the area leader for social studies, is going to share a video talking about that. But we have moved our government curriculum to 12th grade, and that was a state decision made for all high schools in the state of Minnesota. And so we have moved AP Human Geo or Cultural Geography to 9th grade. And so there's some new Human Geo we've had, but this is going to be a new take on it, a year-long course. It's going to meet the standards for that 9th grade government. And then this Cultural Geography will be new. So let's take a listen and see what Eric has to say.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to EHS Social Studies. This is a look at the Social Studies program at Edina High School for those in the class, the graduating class of 2028 and beyond. If you are in the graduating class of 2027, 26, or 25, this presentation is not for you, as there has been a change in the social studies curriculum and the scope and sequence. So you would want to look for other resources that are out there and widely available to talk about your pathway, which remains unchanged. This video is in particular is for the class of 2028 and beyond. And we have a brand new pathway starting with the class of 2028, and that is a geography focus in 9th grade. Previously, we had a government focus, and now we have a geography focus followed by world history, U.S. history, and then government economics in 12th grade. We are excited that this will also allow us to have one full year of social studies at every grade level. 2 semesters in 9, 2 semesters in 10, 2 semesters in 11, and 2 semesters in 12. You'll also notice there's some choices. Government, for example, can be taken in 11 or 12. Economics can be taken actually with the AP option at any grade, and the standard option in grades 11 and 12 also. So it is also a schedule that is flexible in order to fit the needs of learners, and as far as filling schedules that students have that open up. The next thing then is to talk about the choices in 9th grade, and you have 2 choices in 9th grade. They are cultural geography or AP human geography. The classes will be very, very similar. Both of them at their core study human interactions with the environment, culturally, economically, politically, socially. This will build on what you learned in 8th grade. It will not repeat what you learned in 8th grade. It will build on the things that you learned in 8th grade. And we'll look at these interactions on the world, the national, the local levels as well. So you have that whole wide variety of topics to look at, from big to small. This will also feature some broad-based social studies skills. Both classes will also engage you in inquiry, in research, in civic engagement, in current events. And neither course, you should know, is a prerequisite for 10th grade AP options. So you may decide in 9th grade to take the AP level course, or you may not for whatever reason. And that is completely fine. And you will have that opportunity to hop into any AP class you want in social studies along the way. There is no prerequisite. If you're considering taking the AP Human Geography class, your counselors will talk about this at some point, but you should definitely know that this will go much deeper, faster, and in more depth. There's going to be more material, and it's going to go faster. You'll be expected to kind of apply your skills rather than just spitting out facts back. And we really need you to think about, are you a self-motivated student with strong work skills? Are you going to come motivated and ready to learn and ready to do that? Those types of things should not be an issue coming into an AP level course, particularly in 9th grade. Reading skills, very, very important. You'll have a college level textbook. And really that interest in the topic, of course, is going to be very helpful as well to really pique your interest and to motivate you along the way. Just in general, consider that this is a significant leap up from your 8th grade social studies class. It's a leap beyond the next level, which would be the standard level course, and you are hopping in now to an AP level class where you could potentially gain college credit. So you want to think about that. We would recommend an A or an A minus in 8th grade when looking at AP Human Geography. When you go beyond 9th grade, we have a wide variety of electives, and you can take a look at the list. What's great is there are some that are the AP level, some that are not, but we're very proud that over 80% of graduates at Edina High School in the last 5 years have taken more than the required number of social studies credits. Our electives are very, very important. We think they're very popular because not only are they valuable, but they are enjoyable classes to take. Their kids can learn a lot and apply themselves a lot. So think about taking an elective class, and here's the list that you can take along the way as well. Another thing that's great in social studies is the opportunity to get involved in a lot of different opportunities, from mock trial to Model UN, several things in economics. World Quest and Quiz Bowl and Knowledge Bowl are all part of the department as well. We have a strong History Day program, a C-SPAN Student Cam contest, many travel opportunities, both nationally and internationally, and even a chance to get involved and do some work at the state capitol through the House Page program. So if you're interested in any of those, talk to those teachers, and also look for those opportunities at the Activities Fair, which is held every fall at Edina High School. Thanks for listening. Have a great night, and we look forward to seeing the class, the new class of 9th graders in the fall. Thank you.
So a lot to think about in the area of social studies too, which is kind of fun. There's just a lot of great decisions that students get to make. One thing I want to point out about the AP Human Geography, especially with it being a new course for our 9th graders next year, you probably noticed some of the, kind of the parameters for joining the course are, looking at grades from 8th grade, reading level, things like that. We really want students to be thoughtful about their decision. Our schedule can get pretty tight and full with students in the classroom, so we really want them to make good decisions as they're going in. We're trying not to have students have the mindset, well, I'll just try it out, and if it doesn't work, I'll just change levels. That may not always be the case. So really make sure that you're having your student talk to teachers and ask questions if they're not really sure which level's right for them. Okay, next is science. And we did have a science change a couple years ago, but unlike what you've been hearing, this is going to be the same moving forward for next year. So science for 9th grade is either physical earth or chemistry based on their 8th grade class and where they're at right now. So Mr. McLean's going to talk a little bit about science and kind of lay it all out for us.
Hi there. My name is Gavin McLean. I'm one of the science teachers at Edina High School. What I'm hoping to do in the next 2 minutes is give you a quick overview of our science sequence, as well as then the choices that need to be made for those 9th graders in preparation for the fall of 22. So let's look at that sequence. The first course we do is a course that's called Physical Earth. It covers the state required Earth standards, and it's from there that we go into chemistry, from chemistry into biology, and then biology into physics. These 4 year-long courses make up the core of the science program. From that core, we offer then the electives, such as the AP courses, as well as the single semester electives. So what's the choice of our incoming 9th grader? Well, it's about that core and whereabouts they are right now, and which is the next course in progression. For the majority of students, they're currently in 8th grade science or enriched science. This is called Pathway 1, in which case they're going to be registering for Physical Earth in the fall. For some students, though, they are currently already learning about Physical Earth at the middle school level because they're on Pathway 2 or the compacted series, in which case then they're going to be going into chemistry or enriched chemistry. If you're not too sure which course you should be registering for, then please chat to your son, your daughter, and ask what current course they're in. And if they're in 8th grade science, they're going to be registering for Physical Earth. If they're in Physical Earth, they're going to be registering for chemistry or enriched chemistry. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. Perhaps you might be even a new family to Edina Public Schools, in which case we'll be more than happy to try and help guide you what the best course is in the sequence. Thank you for listening, and have a good night.
Well, that's a lot of information about science. A couple choices there for you all to think about. Next up, we have our wellness department, which is a new modern name for physical education. Our wellness department has components that talks more about movement, maybe some physiological aspects to Phy-Ed. So it's a much more broad perspective of Phy-Ed as maybe us old folks used to know. But anyway, here's Melanie Pusatari with some information on wellness.
Hi, my name is Melanie Pusatari, and I'm here to talk about the Wellness Department and graduation requirements. So in order to graduate from Edina High School, students must take 1 semester class of health, and they must take 2 semester courses in the Wellness Department, the first of which is personal wellness. In terms of health, we have 3 different pathways you can take the course. You can take the traditional classroom during the school day. You can take summer blended health, which meets a couple days in the summer. You must have consistent internet throughout the summer and want to be able to spend your time in coursework. There's more online with the health requirements in the catalog. And we also offer EVP online health through that catalog as well. Students also need personal wellness in order to graduate, and this is the first course of the 2 classes department. The 3 pathways to take personal wellness are traditional during the school day, summer, and also we offer an online EVP version that is in that catalog as well. But students must take personal wellness before they take their second credit, and the second credit is listed below. The classes are listed below. We have a lot of offerings for students to take. I recommend that incoming 9th graders think about taking personal wellness first, and then maybe health, and then taking that second credit their junior or senior year. As far as summer school goes, we have the summer personal wellness and summer health. Again, look at the catalog for more information and the required face-to-face dates. And just so you know, you cannot take both classes in the same summer. If you take the summer class, then students will have a student prep that first semester. If you have questions, let me know. I'm Melanie Pusatari at edinaschools.org. Thank you for your time.
All right, that kind of wraps up all of the information, excuse me, on our core classes or a lot of the required classes. We covered the 4 cores, our health, our PE, and then there's 2 fine arts credits. So you can look at our electives. Every department offers different electives within the department. And so our fine arts, there's art, visual art, so painting and drawing, ceramics, some of our photography classes. And we also offer the band, orchestra, choir, and then theater for all. And any of those classes would help students get the 2 fine arts credits required for graduation. And they can take those anytime 9th through 12th grade. And then I said that, all the electives fall into all the different departments. We have a business department. We have a strong DECA program, personal finance and marketing. Our STEM program is pretty amazing. Our Project Lead the Way, there are so many different classes. I also think it's pretty cool that currently all the teachers that are teaching in our STEM program are females. And so it's really fun to see that. It's different than I think we might see at other schools. We have a family and consumer science department. They're offering foods, education, child psychology, interior design. And so it's just a great opportunity for kids to be able to take classes they're interested in and they want to take, add in some fun things to create that balance. Again, you have to take certain classes. Sometimes you really choose to put some rigor in. And then it's nice to have some classes that can balance off so not everything is overwhelming throughout your day. And our electives programs just offer so many great opportunities for that. The one department that we haven't really touched on, and it kind of falls somewhere in between being an elective and a requirement, is our world language department. And while it's not a requirement to graduate from high school, it is a college entrance expectation. And so colleges want to see kids take world languages. They often say they want to see 2 to 3 years. More years are better. So if your student is currently taking a world language in middle school and it's going well, they're doing well, they're enjoying it, we really encourage them to continue. So currently, if they're taking Chinese, French, Latin, or Spanish at one of our middle schools, they would register for level 2 coming into 9th grade, assuming it's going well. If they're in a world language right now at a middle school and they don't love it or they want to try something different, they can change. Typically, the only level 1 world language classes we offer is ASL or American Sign Language, Chinese, and Spanish. You will see in the course catalog that French 1 and Latin 1 are there. I haven't seen those classes actually run in years because we don't get enough students signing up for them. So if you're really interested in starting one of those, I would encourage you when you register, your student registers, to make sure that they put an alternate for their world language so that we know exactly what to put in their place. So if you're currently taking a language and you're going to continue it at the middle school, they would continue into level 2. If they're part of our French immersion program, they would register for EF French 4. And if there is an exception to the rule, maybe they're Spanish speaking or they're coming from a different school and they have higher levels, we would really encourage them to reach out to Kim Castor, the area leader for our world language department. And they are so great at wanting to meet with kids and again, make sure that that placement is appropriate for the kids so that they're challenged and successful at the same time and that they're feeling good about what they're doing. So they work really hard to meet with those kids individually for placement.
Well, thanks for that information, Angela.
Yeah.
As you can see, there are a ton of options for students to take, whether it's a core requirement class or an elective. Edina High School really has something for everybody. Another option that we have is our Edina Virtual Pathway, and it is Edina Public Schools online high school. It is run separate from the high school. And certain classes, not all classes, but certain classes are offered through EVP, depending on the enrollment that we received this spring. What students should do if they're interested in Edina Virtual Pathway or EVP course is to register for a full slate, 7 courses through Edina High School. There will be a form, and that will be linked on this presentation, and you'll have access to that tomorrow. But students should register for, like I said, a full slate of EHS courses and then fill out the EVP online registration form. And once approved, the EHS course would be dropped from the student schedule and the EVP course, the online course, would be placed in their schedule. So though we're separate schools, we do work hand in hand with each other to round out a student's schedule. So please know EVP is also an option if that is a learning style that your student would maybe, it might serve them better.
All right. We have been talking a lot about classes. Now we're going to do a little bit of a shift and just share a little more information about our department and the work that we're doing with students and kind of what's to come here over the course of the next couple of weeks as they make these decisions about all the great classes you just heard about. So you've now met Angela and I. We are the two ninth grade counselors. So the two of us work together with a ninth grade social worker to support our ninth graders in the transition to high school. So we get to enjoy them for a year, and then we pass them on to a grade 10 through 12 counselor. So once they get to 10th grade, they will be assigned to a counselor based on their alpha last name, and they'll have that connection with that same person for the remaining 3 years of high school. We do have three lovely people that support our department, Nancy, Allison, and Molly. If you're coming in new next year, you may have talked to one of the three of them already, but we have a pretty big department here to support you as you enter the high school. So what are we doing? What's next coming up here? So as we mentioned, we had all of our counselors over to Valley View today. It was really fun. We broke the students into different advisory classrooms and we shared a presentation with them. We are headed over to Southview tomorrow, so we're really looking forward to seeing them. Again, if you're new to the district, Nancy Knutson will be reaching out to you here in the next couple of weeks if you haven't heard from her already. We've got several dates that we have pre-selected to hopefully bring you in and work with your family to help choose classes for our new students as well.
Can I say one thing about that really fast? I'm sorry. There's small group meetings. So it's kind of nice. We bring in like maybe 5 to 7 families at a time and do this presentation. And if you're new to the district, you still have access to everything that we've talked about in this presentation tonight, even though you won't be registering for a couple of weeks. Some people get nervous that they might be missing out on something because they're not registering at the same time as our middle schools. But we still keep all of these opportunities available to you, even though you're new to the district.
Yep. And for those kids, if we could go back just to the calendar real quick. Thank you. So for those kids that might have more questions, Angela and I are going to be heading back to Southview and Valley View for flex sessions. They'll just let their counselor know if they want a little bit more help and support, and we'll be around to answer questions. Their 8th grade counselors are also available and really great if they have questions about anything as they're kind of making their selections for next year. So what we're looking at next here for our students that are at Southview and Valley View, they do have access to a folder in their 8th grade Schoology page titled 2024-25 High School Course Registration. And we've laid things out really, we hope, easily, step by step. So if students are trying to figure out kind of what's next, the presentation we gave to the students today is a little bit different than what you're seeing here tonight. That is accessible and available in the Schoology page. For those of you that are coming in new next year, we do have a registration website, and all of this information, as Angela just mentioned, is over on that registration website, so you can access that there. We've got course requirements listed. We had a handout today. There's a digital copy here in the Schoology folder. It has links for the course catalog, the registration website, summer health and personal wellness. It is really just a catalog of absolutely anything you might need to know for registration. I would say if you have a question about classes or anything about next year, I would have your student log onto this Schoology page first, because the answer is probably there.
For sure.
So speaking of the course catalog, we'll just show you kind of a screenshot here of what it looks like. But this presentation will be live on our website, I believe, tomorrow. But you can access the full course catalog. It gives descriptions of all the classes. So, Angela was mentioning all the great electives. It's pretty fun to really dive in there and read about all the different options for students. It shows what grade levels things are available. So the course catalog is a wealth of information. It's a really, really great resource. There are a lot of videos. So many of our teachers have embedded videos about their class. They talk about all the fun things they do, try to get kids excited. So the course catalog is just another great resource.
So kind of to wrap things up just a little bit in review of what we've talked about, this just breaks down all the credits required to graduate from Edina High School. So it's a total of 43 credits, and you can see there's 8 in English, 8 in social studies. That's 4 straight years of English and social studies, 6 in science, 6 in math. that one personal wellness. After a student has taken personal wellness, they can take a second wellness credit. And Ms. Pusateri showed us a really nice list of all of the really fun wellness courses that we offer. One health credit, and then 2 fine arts credits. So students have, all 4 years to get these credits in. Jenny talked about, like we offer 7-period day, 6 classes is considered full time. We do see a lot of students choose to take 7 classes. It doesn't give them an opportunity in their day to get homework done. So it's not uncommon to see kids do a student prep, especially first semester of 9th grade, allow them to transition to the high school, kind of get what I like to call their sea legs underneath them and be comfortable being a high school student, because this is a really big transition. And so when you do have that quiet student prep, it gives them, an hour a day to get some homework done, decompress a little bit instead of just like class after class after class. That student prep might be located anywhere in their 7 classes. So there's no way to guarantee that it's first hour or 7th hour. It'll just be placed where it's placed and how it works in that student's schedule. We mentioned that we have, 7-period day. So 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, students just follow their schedule 1st through 7th hour. On Wednesdays, we have an odd period day. So kids just have 1, 3, 5, and 7. On Thursday is even. So they go 2nd hour, then advisory, 4th hour, 6th hour, and then our flex block. So unlike our middle schools that have advisory and flex pretty much every day, we just have advisory and flex once a week. In that flex period, teachers can choose to have a student report to them, or a student can choose a teacher to go see. If a 9th grader doesn't choose, they're assigned to a random teacher, and it's just another hour in their day or their week to get some work done. So it's kind of this hybrid between a 7-period day. And again, it's up to the student if they want to take that quiet student prep or not. We encourage kids, but if there's kids who are really, they're going to take their 4 cores, they're in a world language, and they're in a music, and they want to take some of those fun options we talked about, then that kind of takes that quiet student prep out for them. So it's really just a personal choice and how they feel they want to structure their day.
All right. Well, that was a lot of information and we're still not done. We are just about wrapping up though. If I could just pause and review a little bit of some of the most important things that hopefully you're taking away so far is 1, you are going to be in good hands with Angela and Natalie serving as the 9th grade counselors. 2, make sure to pay attention and read that course catalog. You'll have a link to it on the counseling webpage, but it is, like Angela and Natalie said, one of the biggest resources and most important documents that we produce. And 3, there are a lot of people at Edina High School that are prepared and ready to assist when your kids get here next year. 3 of those people are our equity and inclusion specialists and cultural liaisons. Blanca, Siley, and Farhia. Their main purpose is just to reach out and help students and be a resource for families, provide a deeper connection with the school system with respect to each of their counselors that they are cultures that they represent. So please, if you feel the need, reach out to either Blanca, Siley, or Farhia. They are more than happy to help. Now, some quick tips on how to make the transition to EHS easier. I'm just going to point out a few of them, but I would say one of the biggest things in terms of feedback that we get from our 9th graders once they've made the transition is they're a little surprised at the increased workload. And the second thing is that we do expect students to advocate for themselves. And in order to, I think, feel more comfortable doing that, it's really important to get to know your teachers. And our teachers are here to build relationships with students. And so they would love for students to reach out to them and get to know them better. In terms of what it takes to be a successful student here at EHS, I would say that the top few would be to make sure that you're staying on top of homework and stay as organized as you can. Last thing to highlight is that, again, our teachers are here to help, and they want students to ask them questions. So we did survey some of our teachers to ask what would be some things you'd want to communicate to incoming 9th graders that might help them through the transition and make it a little bit smoother. So these are the top 7 replies that we received from our teachers. And I think they're all super valuable. Again, we highlighted from the beginning, think through the registration. Your class selections are final. Our classes are very full, and there really isn't an opportunity to change your mind if you want to change from one elective to another. So make sure that what you select this spring are classes that you can live with in the fall. Again, get to know your teachers. They're available during office hours that are published annually, so you'll be able to have access to that website or webpage as we move into the school year next fall. Stay on top of homework. Utilize a planner. Make sure you ask questions right away when you're confused. And then if you need to, or you feel like you want that extra study period within your day, register for a student prep, but be sure to use that time on schoolwork and not a time maybe where you're just wasting it. So just a quick snapshot of the teachers that you heard from today from our math, English, social studies, and science. Lastly, our wellness and health department. Those are our area leaders. They can answer any question you have that might be specific to each of their departments. And lastly, we really appreciate your attention in joining us tonight for our curriculum night. This presentation will be posted on the counselor website tomorrow, and feel free to view it as many times as you need to make sure you can soak in all of that information. We're all learning every day, and this is an opportunity for you to learn more about Edina High School. We wish you all the best, and please know we are here for you, especially and excited to see you this fall.